Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Monday's show here at the Investing Bros. It is Monday, December 19th. It's going to be a great show today. We got some big headlines that aren't necessarily even directly tied to crypto. They're going to be tied to stock market stuff, but we'll see how they go. Technically, the Sam Bankman-Fried one is related to crypto. I'm not 100% certain how much left old SBF has on impacting the crypto space. But we'll see. It will be a very interesting show. We got a lot to talk about. Of course, Elon in that title is probably the biggest headline of the day. And we're going to talk a little more about Elon's motivations. I think he knew what he was doing when he put that poll out there. But T-Shroom, how are you doing this morning? And what are some other headlines we should be expecting on today's show?
Oh, absolutely great today, Tim. I really appreciate you asking. But today we are going to be talking a little bit about SBF. Surprise, surprise. We're going to be talking about somebody similar to him that just got 60 years in jail. And then the Democrats look like they're ready to start forking back some of those donations. And then we are going to right now go ahead and celebrate the winning of the 2022 FIFA World Championship with Argentina. So all of our Argentina fans, this is a special moment for you. But let me go ahead and read a paragraph here from The Atlantic as we celebrate. And I hope that you all enjoy this. To borrow another theme from Edward Said, Messi has lived a life of exile, self-imposed and lucrative, of course, but by playing abroad, he always seemed a bit caught in between, insecure about his connection to his motherland, alienated from his adopted home. He was both an icon to his compatriots and a stranger, a condition exacerbated by the fact that he hadn't won the biggest trophy of them all for his country. His quest for a World Cup was possibly a quest to repair his relationship with Argentina. Folks, that was a little bit of context of that huge win there for Messi and for the Argentinian side there, and we couldn't be happier for them. If you're a France supporter, they came out and they played hard. They really put their heart out there on the field and left it all on the pitch. It's great to see some of those goals from Mbappe. Tim, what did you think of the World Cup?
Dude, the greatest World Cup final of all time.
Wow.
Played by the GOAT.
The GOAT.
Messi. I'm no disrespect to Ronaldo. And technically speaking, I don't really always like when it's just Messi and Ronaldo talking about the two people in the GOAT. Pele definitely does not get as much credit as he should be when talking about GOAT conversations. Ronaldinho, not as long of a career in terms of his prime, but like going back and watching some of his highlights, there were just some plays from Ronaldinho. I grew up watching Ronaldinho, and it was just like, how does a human do that with his foot? I don't understand how that's possible. So all those men raised up together, Messi still takes the cake. And yesterday solidified that.
Wow. I don't know. I think you're right. There are other GOATs out there, perhaps defying the term GOAT, but there are other GOATs out there that should
greatest of all time. What do you mean define the term? That's what it is.
Yeah, but there's a singular. It implies that there's a singularity to that there can't be more than one. But anyway, Argentina got the big dub yesterday. Couldn't be happier for him. Looks like we might have a big fan. Servando Estrada said, "This is awesome. Clap, 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 clap. This is awesome." So I'm assuming probably a little bit more of a claim to being an Argentinian fan than us here down in Florida. But so we're going to get to those stories, and we're going to have a lot of fun with that faux show.
Let's engage with chat here a little bit. First of all, I saw Eric Wallen said the hats are back, which, right. So Mondays. What are we calling Mondays?
Mad Hatter Mondays?
Mad Hatter Mondays. Mad Hatter Mondays. There we go. Yeah, so on Mondays, we will have the hats back on. I miss wearing a hat on stream. I took it off. I don't remember exactly why I took it off in the first place, because it was part of my look.
Yeah.
Really makes you kind of question some things. There we go. Let's check in with other people, though, here in chat. First of all, thank you to everyone here. We got 24 people watching at the moment. Only 15 likes, though. Oh, no, it just went up. So now we're almost 30. Go ahead and smash that like button. If you are new here, thank you so much for coming. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I promise we talk crypto. Special morning because of the World Cup. Here's what's really sad, though. I think in this next 4 years, I'll pay more attention to soccer. Usually, I mostly pay attention when World Cup comes around. I should be paying attention more in between because I do love the sport.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Agent Gold says you guys look more like the Glad Hatters. That's one way to put it. Cryptex is here saying congrats on hitting 1K subs. Yeah, we're going to talk about that later on in the show, too. I got a question for you guys on what do you think is going to happen with that. Crypto AI is in chat. Like I said, Agent Gold. Tristan Allen is here. Crypto Ben Franklin says good morning. Sack Nasty 86. Crypto Sec Guy, as always, is here. Alex Green in chat. Elliot Locke. A lot of Elliot Locke. Crypto Mini Bike is here. And then, of course, T Shroom is in as well.
So I got to say, Sack Nasty, we might start doing this, recognizing the first chat. Because, I mean, you got here earliest. You were the most studious trader. And, yeah, look at there. Sack Nasty 86 got the first, other than me, but that's not fair. Said Tesla Rally morning, guys. So, what do you think? I like that tradition.
Yeah, I think so, too. I do want to, because we've been getting the stream up about a half hour before we actually go live. I would love to start getting in here for those who are up and early and start engaging with you guys. I'm watching the chat, even though we're continuing to plan the stream. Mm-hmm. So if you guys come in early, and we're usually here about a half hour early, if you guys want to come in and start asking questions, start discussing and talking, I would love to engage people. Cash of Cats and Mr. B just joined as well. Cash of Cats says, I'm lurking while at work. Lurking while working.
I like that.
Lurking while working. I love it.
Kind of like whistle while you work, but it's lurk while you work.
Yeah, it's... Yeah.
Tim wasn't ready for that wit.
Well, rarely am I ready for T-Shroom. Let's go ahead and thank you to everybody who's watching here. We're going to jump in and start doing some technical analysis. Let's start off with Bitcoin. So, of course, over the weekend, this kind of happened on Friday, but of course it happened post-show, so we weren't able to cover it. We dipped down, and we didn't get quite, it's kind of funny. We kind of blew through the first level that I thought we would potentially hover at, right there around 16,900. We hesitated. This is a 4-hourly chart, so technically we have 2 4-hour candles that were in that area. We have some wicks, so we did slightly hesitate. You guys can see as I zoom in there, that wick right there bounced at that level, but then we quickly dropped through it, and we didn't necessarily get as far as I thought we would go down further. I know you guys, I talked on that show, guys, I talked about that level around 16,800, and then I also talked about 16,000 almost even. Right now, as we are looking at it, I'm going to go to the log chart to show you guys this, because a lot of times when you're looking at flags and pennants, whether they be bullish or bearish, it'd be better to use the log chart rather than just the exact price action. Of course, when you're using linear chart, it's just going to track the exact price action. So if we dropped $5,000, it's going to predict that the chart should go down another $5,000, right? In this case, we dropped, what is this? This would be... Oh, that's like $800. So it's just going to go ahead and predict another $800 drop. That's not necessarily how it would always work. So let's go to log chart. Doesn't change it too much, but there is technically a difference. There's going to be a difference of a couple $100. So right now, I think some people are going to be tempted, and I'm not going to say it's not possible, but I think some people are tempted to come all the way up to this peak that we had and draw this bear flag from all the way up there. If we were to extrapolate this over, let's just imagine we go up and touch this one more time. This would give us a price prediction all the way down towards 15,200. Is it possible? Potentially. I'm not saying that's not it, but that's not what I'm looking at. I do think we're dropping. I do think that we're going to see another fall in the market, but what I'm looking at, instead of looking all the way up to the peak, my flag is going to, the pole of the flag is going to start right here as we reject it at this level of former support turn resistance. So coming down here, extrapolating this over to a potential breakout point. Let's go right there. This is going to touch right where? Oh, right below 16,000, right at this bottom wick. This is a level of confluence that kind of gives me, again, not a sure thing, not 100%, but it makes a lot of sense that Bitcoin would go ahead and dip down this far back to a former level of support. And then we kind of got to decide, hey, are we picking up some bullish momentum there? Are we starting to continue bearish? Are we heading for a new low? Are we going all the way back down? What's the lowest we've been? So this is a time frame. The lowest we've been still is around that. Come on now. Is it right there? That's it. That's it. The lowest we've been right there is 15,400. Right. Okay. Yes. Yeah. So for some reason I thought we got a little lower. Do we go down lower than 15,400? Of course, if you are the one using the bear flag from all the way at that peak, that prediction would send us down to a new low around 15,000. I'm keeping eyes on new lows. I think if we break 15,400 and so, not guaranteeing we will, but I think if we do, go ahead and just start looking around that 14.6 down to 13 because you're now starting to create some new bottoms and, of course, those next levels of significance on the chart. That also would take us down to a support level of the longer time frame falling wedge that Bitcoin has been in. So you're seeing this blue dotted line. We have not touched it since all the way back here in June. And we got close during this dip, but we didn't quite get there. I guess I'm on the log chart. Never mind. Log chart. Okay, yeah. So still in the log chart. See, we're even farther away. Could we come down even further? That is the question that a lot of people are asking. But the other thing that this level kind of gets us closer to when we're looking at the linear chart, we're back in the linear chart now, is it gets us a little bit closer to this level that was a level of resistance. We rejected off, or we broke through it, but this was that neckline of the inverse head and shoulders pattern. By the way, guess what? Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. We played that prediction perfectly with this peak, came up to the breakout point, and now does that level come back into play once again? Let's look at some oscillators, and we're going to look at Lux Algo really quickly on Bitcoin, see what they are saying as well, and you're going to find some similarities here. So right now on the 4-hourly chart, we are overextended to the downside. We're slowly making our way back up, but again, what usually happens when you see things like this is almost like another small capitulation. Yes, moving to the upside, but it's moving within a flag pattern. Watch the RSI, and potentially what we're going to see at the bottom as this RSI climbs and then the price drops again. Maybe we don't come back down and match this 27 on the RSI. We set up some bullish RSI divergence, and then we start to rally. That would make a lot of sense. We're overextended to the downside on the Luxago oscillator as well. Going to the hourly chart, we're kind of hovering in the middle on both of them. So once again, that's kind of my rationale. We bottomed out really hard, overextended on the oscillator for Luxago, overextended on RSI coming all the way down to around 22, and then we're rallying back up, and at times we've been above 50. Yes, we're below it right now, but the price didn't necessarily jump up that much. These are one of those things that it just sets you up. It's another dip. So the RSI outpaces the price, and the reason it's bearish right now because that more than likely is implying we're going to see that dip, but it's bullish in the long term because what it's setting up is a longer time frame bullish divergence, which should give us support and rise back to the upside. Traders love watching these setups. Like as a trader, what I'm looking at here is saying, all right, I'm not entering along right now. I think another dip is coming. When we come back down and we set these new price bottoms, but we have our bullish RSI divergence, that's when I'd be entering into a long. Let's go back out to the 4-hourly chart, and let's pull up old Lux Algo. And you're going to see some more confluence of some of these levels I was talking about. So let me put that down so we can see more clearly. 4-hourly chart. Here we go. So as we talked about, the confluence that we currently have, we're under a buy signal right now, but I'm not necessarily thinking this is the strongest one in the world. When this buy signal happened, yes, we were low on the RSI, but our Luxago oscillator itself wasn't even overextended just yet. So I'm not seeing that buy signal. I would have looked at that when it flashed, seen that we weren't quite that low yet on the oscillator for Luxago, and saying, all right, that's not going to be the strongest buy signal. Also, the trend right now is to the downside with us heading a lower low right here than over here. So therefore, the buy signals are not going to be as strong and as good of indicators as necessarily some of the sell signals. Could we go to the upside? We absolutely could. Right now, we do have a take profit all the way up around 17,200. I just don't see that happening. It's not very likely in my opinion. But what I do see using the Lux Algo action concepts, there's a fat level of volume hovering where? Right down there around 16,000. So on the 4-hourly chart, this is just another boat, another vote kind of pointing towards, all right, we got, not only do we have former support over here, we also have a bear flag sitting here predicting these lower levels, and we see that's actually also a nice fat zone of support. And the last one I'll put there is, guess what? Yes, we bounced off of the reversal trend right there in Lux Algo, that reversal zone. This, if we came down here again, we'd hit that reversal zone once again. 2 bounces off that reversal zone without even getting close to this reversal zone up top. That could be really bullish for Bitcoin. And again, maybe potentially as a long, you're looking at buying right there as another bounce back opportunity comes. We shall see. Let's go down the hourly chart and see. I know there was another level it was showing when I was looking this morning. And so potentially on our way down, it might not be a straight drop. Watch that there might be a small bounce around 16,300. I don't necessarily, though, expect it to be this similar to what we did over here. I think it's a slight hesitation before a continual drop. So the same reason we had support hitting right here, we had that buy signal come in. Yes, we hesitated for a little bit of time. You see a couple candles hesitated, and then we ended up dropping down to these other levels. Same thing, watch potentially around 16,400, 300, that area. We will hesitate during the drop, but then more than likely, again, what I'm seeing, I'm expecting us to come back down here towards 16,000. It would make a lot of sense. T-Shroom, I'm going to pause before I move on because we're going to talk about Ethereum and I'm going to look at Cardano. But any thoughts you had about Bitcoin? Did you see anything different? I know you got your Luxago set up over the weekend. What are your thoughts?
It's a good question, Tim, and I appreciate you throwing it over to me. Let's see what I have been observing with Bitcoin. I mean, the biggest thing for me is that it broke down out of this channel. And I know you just talked about that at length, but you're asking me, it did break back. I haven't pulled this over. If I would pull this over, then you could see it came in here on the 14th, so it's a little while ago, but it came back into this area that I was considering resistance here. It played around in it, and it didn't even wick up to the top of that. Again, these are my lines, not necessarily the best lines, but it was playing out of that channel, wicked out of the channel nicely, but it didn't wick out of that area of resistance, right? And so now it got punished, came back down, had to break through the channel again too, broke that support on the channel, and now is trading sideways. And things aren't looking as bullish as they could, but because of macro and a lot of the other things we're going to talk about too. So that's kind of my 1, 2, 3 on BTC.
Yeah. I forgot. There was one more indicator I wanted to show everybody.
Go over it.
The fixed range volume profile. So let's look over here. Some levels to keep your eyes on here. So of course, the level we originally dropped to was a nice fat level of volume right there around 16,500. So watch 16,500. That bunch kind of starts to really thin out after that, around that 16,400, 300 level we already talked about. And we have a valley sitting around 16,300. So watch that zone right there. 16,300, 16,400. Watch that zone be a potential pausing point. And maybe reversal. Again, I told you guys in previous videos, I sometimes like valleys and bottoms of valleys as reversal zones just as much as I like peaks. It's the middle zones where the momentum's kind of moving in one direction. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of, but bottoms and tops of these volumes are my 2 levels I like to watch. Of course, if we make it through that valley around 16.3, watch right there around 16.160 all the way to about 16.100 are another zones. Again, so to be fair, if I was a long, I would wait for a bounce. If I want to enter long, I'm going to wait for a bounce and almost way back up. But I'm looking at that 16,100 might be a better level to choose than trying to pinpoint the exact bottom, going down here to 16,000 with this prediction breakout and this bottom wick over here. Not saying that won't happen, but again, when you're trading and you're longing, we've talked about this before, that you don't want to shoot for perfect. You want to shoot for good. And looking at these charts, 16,100, 16,200 is looking like a good spot after a bounce and a rally back up, more so than trying to pinpoint a perfect one. Let's move to Ethereum, and I'm going to go ahead. I think I'm where I want to be. All right, let's go out to the 4-hourly chart real quick. I had the fixed range volume profile already pulled up on this one, so this is where we will start. And we've talked about this before, how a lot of times when you're seeing the fixed range volume like this, this is a bullish sign. So I want to make sure I start off with some bullish outlook here. When you see the volume and you're looking at a limited area, and when you see the volume is higher to the upside, so it's almost like a P formation. Yes, technically, I don't know what this would be like because we have 2 P's going on. But when you see the volume, it's little right here, and then it gets bigger as we go. A lot of times, this is almost a squeeze to push to the upside. And of course, we're hovering right down here in the middle again, below this peak that we were at right here just a couple of days ago. However, keep your eyes on that, because that is a bullish sign. Some traders will look at this fixed range volume profile and say, all right, Ethereum should squeeze back up to the upside. But of course, we just came from up here and we've squeezed down lower. What are the levels we are watching at for support? We bounced pretty neatly off this bottom peak that we had of this one. If we cannot hold, now we're looking at coming back down. There's a valley right around 1100 for 1140 or so. Then we have another peak around 1127. I don't see us necessarily getting below that. This, of course, again, was a rejection off a longer time frame resistance level. Going to the daily chart, we're in a falling wedge on Ethereum here in the linear chart, and we just rejected off that line cleanly. But I do think Ethereum is working very slowly to move back through it. And again, the reason why Ethereum is just a little bit different than Bitcoin and a little bit different than other altcoins, not saying like right now, I think Bitcoin actually is going to have a lot more flow and money flow into it. It just doesn't take as much for Ethereum, especially with them moving to being a deflationary coin. Yes, right now, technically, they're producing more coins than are burning on the daily basis, but they're heading back towards being deflationary, which means every single day, they're actually losing supply, not gaining supply in the total cap. And so what that means, it doesn't take a lot of money for the price action to move to the upside. So for those reasons, when I'm looking at this chart in the TA and I understand the fundamentals of what's going on, I'm still sitting here saying I think Ethereum could be one of the more bullish coins, even if there's still a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the space. That might not prevent it from going to the upside, but it does got to tackle, get back above this level of level of support that now at the moment being below it could be turned into resistance. I want to see, can we go and actually break up through it? Or do we get bounced off of it and come back to the downside? That's going to be a big thing to watch for Ethereum. But right now, let me look at some oscillators, and then we'll move on. Let's go to the 4-hourly chart and look at those, because those will give us a better time frame to see this. Similar to Bitcoin, we're overextended to the downside, but we're slowly creeping back up. But I don't think this is anywhere near the same pace. I guess Bitcoin is kind of similar. So they're doing similar things. There's a chance that Ethereum just ends up following Bitcoin and keels back over for one more dip that sets up bullish RSI divergence and takes us back to the upside. But we will have to keep you guys posted on what is happening there. There is no guarantees yet on that. Let's check out Lux Algo. Both of these, we had a buy signal come in. And we also are sitting right on a fat level of volume. So these are both good signs for Ethereum at the moment. Of course, this buy signal came in early. I told you guys before, again, when you set a new low, the trend is to the downside. You definitely do not trade Lux Algo signals just based off of when they flash. You take a lot into consideration. When this flashed, we were not overextended to the downside on the Lux Algo oscillator. We are in a bear trend. We are setting lower lows. So this is not one necessarily to look at and say, oh, well, it said strong buy signal. Shouldn't we have bought right there? Nope. Remember, keep your brain about you. Remember the rules on Lux Algo. There's a couple things you want to see it hit before you actually end up buying, and this is not one that would have triggered just yet. Let's go down to the hourly chart and see if anything changed on that one, if anything's a little different. This one is kind of sitting right on a thinner level of volume, but I think currently we're sitting under are we under a buy or sell signal? Is it telling me? Yeah, we're under a sell signal right now, and there's a little bit lower. It wants to go to take profit. We'll keep you guys posted on what's happening there. Right now, I don't think this is necessarily a trade zone either way. I do think there's a good chance we go to the downside, but on Ethereum, is there even enough to the downside for it to be worth it entering into a short position? So let's move on to Cardano and check out what's happening over there. This is the one that is not fun. We hit a new low for the year over the weekend. Let's see. Did this technically happen on Friday itself? Yeah. This happened on Friday, but of course this was after our show, so we weren't able to cover it when it happened. We came all the way down, dipped down to that 25-cent region we've been talking about. Now, I think potentially there's a little lower to go. So for this one, instead of focusing on the more micro timeline, let's go back out to macro and look at Cardano once again. And the first thing I want to do, let's go ahead and stroll over here. The reason why a lot of people are talking about 17 to 15 cents is because of these two peaks right here. This would be back in 2020. This peak was in, still late 2020. So you guys will see after we had our pandemic rally, we topped out around 15 cents right here in August, came back down. Then again in November, we peaked out around 18. People say 17, but let's go ahead and call it 18. 18 cents. We peaked around 18 cents, came in rally, and then, of course, the rally started off. We're currently hovering in this area right here, where we jumped up into the 30s and then came back down, retested. Even though these levels hadn't been hit for a long time, we found support right there. So currently, that's what we're struggling with. We're wrestling with right here is back in early of 2021, former support. This really was never resistance. This was just support. Former support we had back in early 2021 is where we're currently wrestling, and I think there's a good chance that we end up staying there, and I'm going to show you here in a second. But at the same time, zooming in here on the 4-hourly chart, we've talked about this level of support we've been above. We just broke below it and have now used it twice as resistance. So to me, that is not a good sign. That's a very bearish sign, which brings in that question. Going lower is a very real possibility on Cardano. No volume being here means it's just going to follow the rest of the space. And if Bitcoin's going to dip and we think Ethereum's going to dip a little bit, maybe Cardano even dips harsher. We'll have to wait and see. But where could it potentially go? This means that we need to go back out. Let's go to the 3-daily chart so we get more of the price action here on the camera. And let's pull up our fixed range volume profile so we can see some of the peaks and the falls of Cardano. So right now we just broke below a key peak right there around 31 cents here within the last week, which means some people are just going to go ahead and jump down here and say, all right, keep your eyes out for 14, 15 cents. This is the next peak. Again, this is what I don't like when we see technical analysts just look at peaks. I also think that valleys and bottoms are really important places. Let's look at a couple places where we can keep falling. Right now, we're hovering right at this little peak, a very small peak, but a little peak around 26 cents. But coming down here, there's another valley that hits around 24, and then the real valley starts around 22 cents and goes all the way to about 20 cents. This is the first region. If I was going to make a prediction on where I think Cardano will go, I actually think it's a very plausible and explainable reason to say 20 to 22 cents is a good place to see a bottom. Why? Because that is the absolute lowest point on this entire graph in terms of volume. And again, these little valleys, these bottom points are almost just as important as peaks. If we cannot hold that, then it would make sense to actually go ahead and go all the way down to 15 cents where we have another peak. Technically, there's one right there. Yeah, 15 cents, 14 cents. It would make a lot of sense to go that far. I do think that's still a disaster scenario. So let me just put it this way. I think Bitcoin hitting brand new bottoms, 20 cents, 19 cents, that area makes a lot of sense. I think if Bitcoin goes down towards 11,000, 12,000, that's when we're seeing our Cardano around 14 cents, 15 cents region. To me, I think Bitcoin is going to hover somewhere close to that 15.5 and maybe get down to that 14.3, in which case the 20 cent to 22 cent Cardano makes, that's a lot. I'm saying cents a lot, but it makes a lot of sense. And then when you buy Cardano at that 20 cent, 22 cent level, you'll make a lot of sense in forms of dollars.
Nice.
See what I did there? So that is what I have right here on Cardano. I wish I had better news for you. And again, I feel like I'm getting to be a broken record here. I am bearish on Cardano price right now for multiple reasons. And I'm brokenhearted because I really wish it would go to the upside, because I'm not looking to necessarily really put any more of my Cardano dry powder is just about up at this point. I'm just going to go ahead and hold on and know that in the future bull market, what I currently own is going to be worth a lot more than what it's currently at. But that's the reason I'm sitting that way, is because as bearish as I am on these price actions, I am very bullish on the fundamentals of Cardano, the project of Cardano. We have a couple minutes here, so you can go off my screen real quick. There is some recent news and some drama over on Twitter again, where Charles Hoskinson continues to become an enemy of the state for XRP. XRP and Charles just do not mix. And it's sad because I feel like the XRP community and the Cardano community are potentially, I'm not going to count Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is a completely different thing. Let's just talk about altcoins. The XRP community and the Cardano community are two of the most dedicated, passionate, and enthusiastic communities in the space. And here's what Charles kind of implied that XRP's community is a little toxic. And I think there's elements of what he's saying that could be true, but I think there's also elements that are not true. And then you could say the same thing. I think one man's passion is another man's toxicity. I think a lot of people from the outside are going to look at the Cardano community and see some elements of what we would call passion and others would call toxicity. And just so you guys know, I'm not necessarily fully entrenched in either communities. Like, I don't like spend time on Reddit. I don't like just engage with other people. I just really, really like the fundamentals of Cardano, and I really, really appreciate the aspects of XRP where I used to dislike it, and now after learning more about it, I think there is a place in this world for XRP. But I think that Charles is true. I think he's right when he says there's areas of toxicity amongst XRP community members. But I have to play devil's advocate and say, if you're going to call that toxic, which I can agree with, you also have to acknowledge there are some Cardano people in the same boat. That doesn't mean everyone. There are some beautiful, lovely, amazing educational people in both spaces, but he is right. There is toxicity, and that's one of the things that if crypto is going to succeed, we got to find a way to turn toxicity and into very much support. We got to get to a place where we actually are uplifting and educating, and instead of just reaching for insults, like anytime anyone says something we don't like, instead of insulting them, we need to continue to strive to work together for truth, which means respectful, engaging conversation. If Charles says something you don't like, respectfully disagree and comment. Don't call him trash, and vice versa. If someone from the XRP community, or even, let's talk about this. I think most people are at this point where they think Solana is trash. For anyone out there who's still a Solana believer, I want to hear what you have to say. I want to hear your argument. I will disagree, but I will do it in a respectful way. And I would love, it's not going to happen, but I would love to see that happen in the crypto space. What do you think, T-Shroom?
Yeah, no, I think you got to have respect. And I think that, there's room for both players. Absolutely. And, one of them, though, is being, heavily investigated by the SEC. And there's some serious, difficulties and headwinds ahead for XRP, so while you just hate to see Charles Hoskinson kind of kicking a project while it's down, but it's not like his remarks are completely unfounded. So, yeah. But I think overall you do need to have respect in the space, and we'll see how it goes. But I did want to do a little bit of TA there on BNB
really quickly. I do have to make a special shout out.
Go for it.
There's someone extremely special in chat, T-Shroom, and I don't even know if you. Well, Steve Strom's really special too, so shout out to Steve.
I haven't seen him in chat.
I don't know if you fully know this person. I'm gonna say the name, and you tell me. In chat, I'm gonna let T-Shroom guess, and I'm gonna let you guys guess who this person is. OGs will know. JD Park.
JD Park.
T-Shroom, who is JD Park?
I don't know. Does he rate It kind of sounds like the Motor Trend JD Power Associates.
That's really, really far off.
Okay.
I'm gonna. You know what? You do your BNB TA.
Yeah.
And I want to see what chat says, guys. Who is JD Park? Those of you who know, you know. And if you guys don't get it, then I'll answer here in just a second.
All right. So looking at BNB here, you can see that it has been trading in this triangle here for a little while, and it broke down here because of all the FUD that's been going on over at BNB. I posted a short over the weekend showing that my USDC off of BNB, off of Binance US exchange, was indeed successful. And so there has been a lot of FUD though in the space. And, you could say it's somewhat to be expected, in wake of the FTX debacle. Binance, CZ's Binance, the CEO of Binance there, he was pretty invested in FTX. And when he sold, there's some speculation that was intentional, blah, blah, blah. Well, BNB, which is the coin of Binance, has definitely suffered as a result. So that's the fundamentals on it. And you can see here the point of control. Let me bring it into the screen for this fixed range VPVR down here. That's where it found the bottom there. And this is on a daily chart. Taking a look at the MACD, you can see that the red histograms are rounding here. So things moving a little bit bullish, but these lines are still pointing down and still pretty far away from each other. So I would not rule out that the MACD isn't still anticipating a break bearish back through the support. Lux Algo's oscillator showing that a higher high or a higher low, there on the oscillator, potentially showing some consolidation to the upside with a little bit of bullishness. RSI looking pretty bullish as it remains below the 50 and also ticking down. So ultimately though, let's throw some Lux into the mix here. It's still on a strong sell order for the daily. But what I was taking a look at this morning is actually on the 4-hour. I believe there's a buy. There is. So there is a buy on the 18th. And so yesterday. And so, I don't know that I'm not buying this right now, but that's your TA for BNB. And I'm not buying it right now, but it looks interesting. And what I will point out is down here, I was saying, watch for a drop because that would be an opportunity to buy. It did drop. You could have bought, you could have sold. Let's see what percentage gain you would have made, 8.5. So you could have done pretty well, especially if you leveraged it. Don't recommend doing leverage, but that was kind of a sure thing. I didn't do it because I was a little busy over the weekend, but yeah. So
interesting.
That's BNB.
There was some bad news that came out about BNB, and I'm about to go back and because nobody guessed who JD Park is. I'm really surprised actually. Matt C just got it. So Matt C got the answer right, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Binance has some bad news where I think it was found 85, 82%. It was over 80%. Someone correct me on the exact second digit of this. But over 80% of BNB is owned by Binance themselves. That does not mean that they're the same. Like, you can't just go ahead and say, well, that means they're FTT token. This is FTT token reborn. Yeah. No, that's not what it means. It just does mean, all right, they most of its value is pumped up by them themselves.
Yeah.
The question is going to be, and that's what we think is there, is that money backed? Unlike FTX, where they just made a bunch of coins and they just created them out of thin air and had no backing whatsoever just to pump other projects, is Binance owning 80-something% of them, but yet at the same time, it actually has value there. It's backed by something else that has worth. Let's go ahead as we transition, because it's past the morning, so I'm really excited to go over there and see what Tesla stock is doing.
Yep.
JD Park t-shirt for your education. Is the infamous is a bad way. Is the famous creator of the HODL trophy.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So, yeah, the craftsman, the artist, the amazing JD Park, which I'd missed him. I hadn't seen his name for a while. So I'm very glad, JD, that you found us and that you're here with us. But yeah, we in the new year, just so you guys know, we are not holding off. We are going to start doing some more competitions like the HODL trophy. We're just going to wait for the new year. Of course, we only have a couple more shows this December, but in the new year, be expecting some competitions to come back between T-Stream and myself.
Only one more show, guys. So today and tomorrow.
And no, we have shows after Christmas. We'll be back on the 27th.
Oh, I don't know what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
I always think that Christmas is the end of December, and it's not.
And then New Year's will be a Sunday, so it's like January 2nd.
Yeah.
I think is our first show in January.
Yeah.
And we'll be doing some sort of competition there.
Yeah.
And we haven't decided what it is yet.
Yeah.
And it's going to have a new mix to it. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, December's kind of like that rich guy, that rich friend you have who's like, you think of him and you immediately think about the money. It's like you think of December, you immediately think about Christmas.
yeah.
But there's more to December than just Christmas. There's more to your rich friend than just his money. All right. That was my fun little thing there for today. JD Park, super cool to have you in chat.
Go ahead.
And,
Go ahead, everybody. Smash that like button. We got 77 people watching, only 53 likes. Let's get that number up as we're starting to talk about stock market, and then it's going to transition us into our biggest story of the day.
For sure. So today, we are looking at Tesla, and this is the historic chart of Tesla because more than likely you're watching this show, you're a big crypto, so you may not know. But Tesla, this is the stock chart going back to 2018. It was basically trading below 100, had a giant explosion up to 100, and then up to 300, and then up to 400, and now it's back down to 144. And let's take a look. Let's zoom in a little bit more because today it actually is opening, as you can see here on the side of my screen, it's opening green among other big tech that is not opening green, opening slightly lower, Amazon down 1%. And so you can see that today, actually, it's one of the only green names. They were one of the only green names here on open. So why is that? Well, we're going to get to that in just a second because there's a giant fundamental story about why Tesla is higher today. Yet again, only crypto green name, Atom. Very interesting. Almost always the solo green of the day. Taking a look at natural gas, had a big gap down this morning in Boyle in natural gas there. So my long position in natural gas is still open, and I am definitely down on that. But here's the key, guys, not as low as I was high on the short of natural gas. So just a little update on that trade. I'm more than likely going to be looking to add to that position as we head into the colder and colder months here in December and January and March, as natural gas will be demanded higher. Not financial advice. So that's natural gas, that's energy. Taking a look here at the broader energy aspect, we have oil up 1.5%, more than 1.5%, trending up to 2%. So that's something to watch. Again, natural gas down decidedly 7%. That's not a leverage ETF, by the way. That is just straight up the spot of an ETF. It's not a leverage ETF though. All right, moving down to the indexes. SPY slightly lower, NASDAQ slightly more than slightly lower, almost 0.5 lower, and then the Dow Jones green. Yet again, just continuing to contribute to this narrative of a rush to value, which the Dow Jones has more of, and a fleeing from growth. So a season of rushing to value, fleeing from growth. Definitely going to be a theme ongoing in 2023. Ethereum ticking green here as we're just browsing right back by the cryptos. Atom leading the way higher, at least on my watch list. Steel up today, 1%. Don't know the fundamentals for that, but gold and silver are going to be disappointing you today in early minutes of the opening of the New York Stock Exchange here. Take a look at steel really quick because it's been on a tear. Ooh, actually a great buy spot today. If I don't know if you agree with that, Tim, but steel, it's broken through the support, so that would be a bearish argument for it. But I think that steel is going to get bought into the new year as you hear more and more of the recession narrative. Silver and gold are kind of the I don't know what happened to it there. But silver and gold are kind of the recession-proof assets that a lot of people rush into when the recession starts to hit. It's the way that you short the entire market, right?
Now, are you throwing steel into that as well?
No.
I say because that wouldn't make sense for steel to be recession-proof. Of course,
I said steel like 3 or 4 times. I meant to say silver.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Well, you said, and that's what confused me. I was like, if a recession hits and demand goes down and people aren't building buildings and people aren't doing construction, that's going to drop in price.
I'm not sure that steel has much of a correlation with the recession because it's such a. It just depends. If there's giant building projects going on in Turkey and Egypt, which there are, steel may be in such high demand still that it doesn't matter. It's not going to be affected by the recession.
I would agree with you though. But I'm Bitcoin, and I'm going to say that in a second. Gold and silver are traditionally recession proof. It's going to be interesting because we're also having the inflation issue with the value of the dollar going up. So that's going to be different. But that's one of the reasons why a lot of Bitcoin maximalists are so excited about Bitcoin, and they also love the concept of getting all these altcoins thrown into being securities, is because they're almost saying like, is this it? Is this the time that Bitcoin termed digital gold is finally going to be treated like gold and silver rather than being treated like tech stock that is a high risk asset and therefore go down. There's a lot of people suspecting potentially the reason why Bitcoin's bottom might be in or be very close, whereas the rest of the crypto space has a lot more pain to go with the rest of the stock market, is because Bitcoin will finally get changed to being viewed the same way as gold. And like we just said, gold is something that goes up traditionally in recessions as a hedge against it and a place to put your value.
Tim, that would be phenomenal. It would be awesome. I still think it's very much up for debate if Bitcoin is going to act like gold here in 2023.
Absolutely.
I would absolutely love it too. That would really do it for me.
And you know what? I think that we should have that debate at some point.
We should debate that. Looking over at Tesla, because we got a question about the stock splits on Tesla. Yes, it does show that on August 28th there was a stock split, and more recently on August 25th of 2022. I said the date. I didn't say the year. The date is August of 2020. There was a stock split, and August of 2022 there was a stock split as well there on Tesla, and that is all calculated into the chart so that it's not confusing for folks. But let's go ahead and take a look here. So we looked at a lot already. Metals. We were stopping here on big tech, which we kind of glanced at, but it has all turned lower except for Tesla. And this FNGD. This is a triple leverage short of tech, specifically Facebook, Netflix, Google. What's D? I don't remember what D. D just might denotate down. Yeah, it does. Up and down. Common to have witty names.
That makes sense.
It have yeah. Meta down 2 points. Negative. Meta down 2% there, leading big tech lower. Tesla trying to pull that back towards the bull side with a little help from Google, but more than likely this is not going to be a great day for big tech. Because of this right here, you're seeing big green in bond yields with, let's see, who's leading the way? The 10-year note leading the way higher. Wow, 2.5, basically 2.5% on the bond yields on the day. But the Dixie is down on the day. Very, very interesting. Let's take a look at that super quick. As you can see, it's continuing to obey this downtrending resistance. Actually, I would say that that's not obeying. At this point, today's candlestick, this is the daily chart, today's candlestick is trading above that. So you're starting to see what could potentially be a bottoming in the short term for the Dixie here. It may make a run to try and go up here and tap the 200-day moving average. That would be a 1% increase in the Dixie. Would be really interesting to see how that turns out. Crypto. Cannabis down quite a bit today. Tilray leading lower 3%. I'd have to say that's not that big of a deal though for cannabis. Mid-cap tech stocks coming lower. Jenny leading the way down. One of these days we'll have to do a video on why I have these specific mid-caps tech stocks. We got Robinhood, we got DraftKings, we got Jenny and Snowflake. Big oil producers mixed, very mixed, but ExxonMobil up 0.7% and Occidental Petroleum down 0.3%. And then I have some new additions to the economic data list, my watch list here, and we'll go through those very, very quickly. But the first one is the median sales price of homes sold in the United States. I've been tracking that, as you can see here. This was going back to 2018. This is 2007. If it was to come back and test those 2007 lows, let's see, a 40% haircut. That would be pretty rough. Looking at the unemployment rate, another addition to my watch list here. Again, guys, these are just some economic numbers. You can see in 2020 when you had the pandemic, man, look how high that unemployment rate got, up to 14%. This is not this is the unemployment rate. Why is it saying, okay, so it's currently okay, that makes sense. I don't know what that yellow line is. Sorry. I don't want to get into, I don't think I drew that one, but yeah, got up to 14% down there in the pandemic, and now it's down at a cool and comfortable 3.7, right where the Fed wants it to be. And then I've also got inflation rate, which, as you can see here, is peaked out back in July of this year and now is coming down. So that is going to be our market open. And yes, we absolutely need to go ahead and break into our stories. First of which we skipped.
We do real quick. There are two. Well, there's a third one that just came up, and I'm a little confused. Jeffrey Fritz Crypto Sec Guy wants us to stop the show because Taylor is in chat. Taylor Warren, my wife. Shout out to her. She is on a very nice break with work because she's a teacher, and so they get a lot of time off. I saw two questions I want to answer really quickly.
Go for it.
T-shirt, one is for you. Could you explain to somebody who's maybe newer to stocks, who's only watched crypto, where there's not usually gaps? Why are there gaps? what's the purpose of them? So like, and what should we take away with them?
That's an interesting question. Let's go to one where I know there's a gap, and that's on natural gas today. Oh man, look at that! I've got some adjusting to do here. It doesn't want to work with me.
Well, yeah.
I was so zoomed out on the month. How did it go to the month chart?
Click off auto again, and then it'll let you're on auto, so it's gonna boom.
All right, there we go. So as you can see here, there is a gap on UNG today, and the question was basically why there are gaps.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely gaps in crypto too. I mean, I guess not
as frequently.
Not as frequently. The reason why, simple: 24-hour trading versus non-24-hour trading. So this U.S. stock market goes live 9:30. Hopefully, if you've been watching our show, you've realized that by now. We're not super explicit about that, to be honest. But yeah, 9:30 to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, New York time. And whereas cryptocurrencies are traded all day, every day, baby. It never stops, never sleeps, because it's just an algorithm. There's no market for that. There's exchanges, but those exchanges are open all the time too. So that's the reason for gaps. And statistically, I believe gaps almost always close, meaning going back over to the chart here, if there's a gap here, statistically, this gap now wants to close. There wants to be a candlestick to come back and come test that again. If you go back historically here, this is again natural gas, which may not be super relevant to you, but if you look back, their gaps always want to close. So there's a gap here, and it wanted to close. So it took a while, like it took 21 days, but it eventually came back up here and closed, did its work, came back down, and came back down. But what was made here? Another gap. Well, it came back up, closed that gap again, and got overbought, and now it's going back down. Well, here's a gap here, got closed. I could go on all day. Gaps.
Boom. Good explanation. Last one is someone asked about Luxalgo indicator, where we're doing that. We're actually gonna have an affiliate link for Luxalgo very soon.
A very big deal.
So we're working on getting that all set up, and we should have that for you guys soon. And then we'll probably create some content with some basic understanding of how to use Luxalgo. If you have Luxalgo, or if you want to get Luxalgo, but you want to learn about how to use it, again, we'll create some more dummy versions. But there's a Luxalgo YouTube channel, which is phenomenal, run by the CEO, by
Sean Mack.
By Sean Mack, and that's where I go. I go and watch his channel when I'm trying to update on how to use Luxalgo. I go watch his channel. Some beautiful, first of all, his creative team, his editing team.
Really good.
He spends money on it.
We might have to talk to him.
He spends money on it, and the videos are phenomenal. So if anyone's going to be like, oh, you guys can create a whole course to teach Luxalgo, we will create dummy videos so you guys can see them, but there's a great video. There's already a great explanation.
What do you mean about dummy videos? What does that mean to you, Tim?
Basics,
we got to get into
very
stories.
Basics, because Luxalgo can get complicated. So like we can teach some very like, hey, do this, don't do this, do this, don't do this type of content that you might have to scroll for a while to find on his channel.
Are we ready? We got to dive into these stories. And
we do. We got
totally
13 minutes.
skipped the Sam Bankman story. So Sam Bankman-Fried will now surrender himself for extradition before Bohemian Court Monday. So good. That's a good outcome. If your money is frozen up in FTX, that's going to speed up the process of you hopefully getting some of those funds back. There's a guy who was convicted 60 years in jail who did something similar, not anywhere near the scale of Sam Bankman, but this could be kind of a foreshadowing, a precursor of what is ahead for Sam Bankman. And then Democrats look like they're going to have to return a portion of the money received from the disgraced FTX founder, Sam Bankman-Fried. Let's look at some of those figures. They've set aside $815,000, $100,000, and $250,000, respectively, of all these different awesome and super upstanding Democratic committees here, always doing good and looking out for the little guy, those Democrats. And then Bankman-Fried was prolific political donator at the height of the crypto empire. The 30-year-old reportedly gave around $40 million, and that's the conservative estimate. So Democrats setting aside only about $1 million here is kind of raising eyebrows. It's certainly raising mine. Looking back here at some other stories, we'll be taking a look at Elon Musk pulled Twitter on whether he should step down. Well, before I do that, Tim, did you have any thoughts on that SBF rejecting the extradition there?
On him rejecting it?
Yeah.
From what I understood, at least it was
rejecting
his rights
to me,
to the extradition, is that he tried to appeal the bail to get it, and he wasn't going to get it. And so he's like, just go ahead. And I don't know what Bohemian jail is like, so maybe he's like,
oh, it's really
miserable.
bad. It's really bad.
Is it really bad? Have you been there before?
on Google Maps.
Oh, true. Yeah, so he's just ready for.
No, I've heard reporting that there's like rats and there's like really bad conditions. Just
True.
but I don't know.
Here, I'll put in chat because he's gonna be guilty. That we already know. How many years are we expecting? And we'll have to put like a poll or something. We'll have to do something on our socials, on Twitter or something. How many years are we expecting for SBF when all this is said and done? We just saw the guy that did the one coin scam get 60 years, and that was for a $4 billion scam. FTX is way larger. How many years does SBF get?
I'd say it doesn't come down to money on these usually, though. It's the principle.
I know. I'm saying is there's a principle for that, and we know this scam's even larger.
Yeah.
So, and there's other crimes he did. Because as I remember, he committed I think at this point he's being prosecuted for like 8 different crimes.
I'm going to set the under. I think my guess is going to be 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna go wild and wacky. All right, you ready to get into the Elon story here?
Let's do it.
All right. So
Cryptex said 22, 150 from. Yeah, okay, we're getting some numbers in here.
We'll talk about it 20. Okay, Elon Musk polled Twitter on whether he should step down as CEO. Most voters said yes. So I mean, this is pretty plain and simple. Yeah. But the story here is that Tesla traded up, and this is kind of where we want to park our conversation for the rest of this stream. Is, why do you think Tesla boomed up, and why do you think people voted for Elon to leave Twitter? I thought everybody loves Elon on Twitter.
Yeah, well, that's what we were talking about. So the last time I looked at it, it had over 17 million votes. 57% sitting saying yes.
You have that on your screen? Oh,
I don't have it on my screen.
Oh, okay, no worries. Just keep.
I can get it on my screen.
I can get it faster while you're sharing your opinion there.
See, that seems like a challenge to me.
No, I got.
I'm just kidding. I'll let you in. So he had 17 million vote, which means 57% of those people said yes. Roughly 10 million, somewhere around 10 million people. That means had voted yes, he should leave. I don't even care about being politically incorrect or whatever. I'm not gonna be like I say that. I preface that.
Just let it rip.
Just saying that makes it sound like I'm about to say something absolutely horrible. I'm not. What I'm about to say is my original thought was, oh, look, there's 10 million liberal Democrats who just hate Elon Musk still on Twitter after saying they were leaving.
Yeah.
T. Shroom came back and said that he thinks that there's a chance that some of these are people that really like Elon, but they're stockholders of Tesla, and they don't like that he's been focusing so much on Twitter, and they're ready for him to devote his attention back over to Tesla. Love to know what you guys think about that, but let's engage. T. Shroom, what are your thoughts there? Of 10 million people voting yes, how many of those you think are people that love Elon and just don't want him involved with Twitter anymore?
Yeah, so as you can see on the screen, you can see the poll there. It's 57.5% in favor, and he said that he would abide by the results of the poll. Pretty crazy, to be honest. Pretty crazy thing to say there, but he also got a lot of retweets, a lot of quote tweets, a lot of likes. I think, and it was 17 million overall was the contribution there. I think a lot of those, I'd say even 10 million are probably folks who think Elon is just the worst, right? But refuse to leave Twitter because they're actually deriving some kind of income.
There's only about 10 million of them that voted yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So how many of the 10 million? So 17.5 million voted.
That's a good point.
That math's going to put about 10 million people somewhere. I think a little bit above it.
Okay. I'd say probably 7 million. I think the overwhelming majority of them are going to be kind of, and I wouldn't even necessarily classify them as liberals, but yeah, Elon haters or people who are critical of Elon probably on a Venn diagram would be more liberal, tend to vote for Democrats. But I'd say there's a lot of them, and maybe to the tune of 3 million or even north of that, that would be voting in favor of this poll because they want Elon to shut up, stop focusing on Twitter, and just shut up and go hang out with the engineers over at Tesla and just meet sales, right? Just meet those sales promises and get that Tesla stock price back where they want it to be. But I have to break it to you guys. A lot of Tesla's decline here, the stock price at least, is because of the macro headwinds. It has everything to do with the Fed rate hikes and the clearing off of their balance sheet. A lot less to do with Tesla sales. And also has to do with something else that Elon can't control, and that's the competition. That's Chevy. With that Chevy Bolt, man, that thing is sweet, and it's a lot cheaper. And also with a lot of Ford's electric cars, and then Toyota. I heard a report that Toyota has everything that Tesla has in terms of capacity to do what Tesla is doing, but they don't want to make electric cars. They only want to make hybrids. And to be honest with you guys, I think the future might be hybrid for the next 10, 20 years, not electric.
Yeah, I think your number. I think you're right. There's definitely some people in there. I don't know about the exact number of people who just wanted to focus on Tesla. Here's ultimately what I think is going on here, and I don't think I'm breaking any news to anyone. I think majority of you guys listening are going to say, Tim, I agree. That's what I thought too. Elon, he already has his successor in plan. He knew that he was going to lose it, so he knew that more people were going to say yes than no to this.
Yeah,
he's not gonna. He's smart enough to not ask a question he doesn't want to know the answer to.
Yeah,
this is his way of saying I'm ready to back down, but let me make this your guys' decision. I already know who I'm going to put in the place. I've been working behind the scenes to get this. And also then the other thing is he's going to continue to control. He's still the owner of Tesla. He's still the owner of Twitter. So he's going to choose somebody who he really likes, who he admires, and he has authority and control over to where he can still behind the scenes pull strings. But his face will just no longer be head twit. And I wonder if he's going to pass on that title instead of CEO. If the new guy's going to get head twit.
Yeah. What do you think about the chances of old Jack Dorsey coming back?
No, not at all.
Why?
Jack Dorsey's not coming back.
Why?
Because I don't think Elon and Jack Dorsey would see things the same way.
Okay.
I don't think I think he's going to choose someone he trusts, he believes in, he likes. And I think Jack Dorsey and Elon Musk, and in all reality, I think Jack Dorsey and most crypto people, the similarities begin and end with the admiration of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people in crypto actually really like things that Jack Dorsey likes other than Bitcoin.
Yeah.
You have a weird smile on your face.
Well, because I'm thinking some crazy thoughts. There's a couple of people who are looking for a job. SBF.
Oh!
Kanye.
Oh,
I wouldn't put it past Elon.
Here's where I break the news. The job that I took, Elon and I have been talking now for a couple of months. All right. I knew he would know. That'd be crazy, though.
I mean, didn't Nancy Pelosi just step down, too? Wouldn't that be the
gracious.
ultimate crazy world to step into?
Yeah. That'd be insane. That would be insane. Dude, if he put Edward Snowden in as the new head twit.
Running it from Russia?
Yeah.
Goodness. We just make Vladimir Putin just offer Vladimir the job. We're going off the rails today on Investing Bros.
Here's another one. What if there's a real twist here and Hunter Biden becomes new head twit?
That's good.
Hey,
that's good.
Maybe. I don't know.
Messi.
We'll see.
Maybe Lionel Messi. That's a little more of a popular guess. How about that?
Oh, gosh. Who do you guys think? Let me know in chat. Who do you think Elon, if we know their names, who do you think Elon might single out for new head twit? It's not going to be Jack Dorsey, though. I can tell you that right now. Yeah. Jack Dorsey, I think, has recently made comments about even starting something newer. And he admitted he made mistakes on Twitter. He shouldn't have done certain things. And he's almost made it implied like either he's going to start a new one or work with another one. I don't know. But I don't see him coming back to Twitter at all.
Yeah.
But that's my opinion.
Yeah. We shall see. We shall see.
Well, we have a couple minutes here. I'm going to see if there's any. While I'm talking, got a couple announcements to make. T-Shirt, look through the chat, see if there's any good questions that we can answer. But I want people to know, in case they didn't do it already,
Joe Rogan,
smash that like button. We have one more viewer than like right now, but there's probably a good 10 viewers out there that have not hit that like button just yet. So go ahead and smash that like button. Next week, we will be here Monday and Tuesday. We will have our show as normal. We might even run a little long because it's getting towards the holiday season. Maybe not Monday. I think Monday, you said you're still working on Monday. I don't know. Tuesday, we might go long.
What's up?
Tuesday?
Today's Monday. Tomorrow is Tuesday. And
what am I talking about? Today is Monday.
Today is the Monday.
Today is the Monday of the Monday of which I'm referring to. And then Tuesday, I'm acting. Okay, my brain, okay. Whew. I was acting like this is a Friday or something.
Yeah. Okay.
That's rough. That is really rough. All right, we have our show today.
Yeah, tomorrow.
And we have a show tomorrow. We will be taking off on Wednesday. Gosh, that was rough, man. We're going to be taking off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Monday of next week after Christmas. We're spending time with family. But we're talking about, I think tomorrow we're going to try to create some videos to be putting out over the rest of the week. And if anything crazy happens, expect either at least a short, or maybe even like a short, 5-minute video from either T-Shirt or myself, just kind of breaking down what we understand. Yeah. But there will be no live shows between Wednesday and Monday. You guys, again, I think you guys have family you guys want to go spend time with too. So we'll be taking a little bit of a break, but we'll be back on Tuesday, the 27th, for more shows. T-Shroom, anything that you saw in chat that we can respond to we got about 50 seconds.
Well, I was just going to say, Tyler Main had a good suggestion, Joe Rogan. I don't think he'd ever do it. But I did think of somebody while we were talking Andrew Yang. I think Andrew Yang would actually be a good CEO of Twitter. He's got a ton of experience in the tech space. He ran for president, failed, but he got a big audience, and now he's launched this new political party. Guys, that's going nowhere. Sorry. I mean, if it does, that'd be great, but that a third party has never worked in the United States. Check out the electoral system. Basically make sure that would never happen.
I'm going to expect
Andrew Yang would be my.
I don't know everybody. I think it'll be a what I'm going to call a no name. Someone else who follows a lot of stuff might know the person.
Sure.
I think it's going to be someone that I have never heard of. You have never heard of. Most of our viewers have never heard of. Yeah. But it's a very closely trusted professional that Elon is going to select for the job.
Jeff Bezos.
New.
Hey, it's Mad Hatter. Mad Hatter Mondays.
Mad Hatter Mondays.
Tim's forgetting what day it is. I'm suggesting Kanye West is the CEO of Twitter. I'm not actually suggesting that, but I did bring it up.
Well, guys, it is 10 o'clock. That is all we have for you guys on today's show, but we'll be back tomorrow again, our last show before Christmas. Make sure you are here because it's going to be a great little wrap up to this week, even though it's only a Tuesday. We love each and every single one of you guys. Again, if you have not already, go ahead and smash that like on the way out. Make sure you share this video and other content with your friends. Because we are very, very, very quickly growing. We're over 1,200 subscribers already, and it's not going to be long before we even get monetized, and we do a lot of stuff here. This is going to be the absolute greatest community in all of crypto, and make sure that you're a part of it, and you bring in everyone you love to be a part of it as well. We love all you guys, and we will see you tomorrow. Have a great day.